All right, you are locked in with us. Wow. Game 7 is coming. Houston Rockets, Golden State Warriors.
The tension, you can just feel it building, can't you?
Absolutely. But, okay, before we get total loss in Game 7 anticipation,
Yeah.
we have to break down Game 6. That was something else.
Oh, it really was. Last night, that 115-107 win for Houston, it sets everything up.
It does. And you, listening, you sent over some great stuff on the game, the whole series, really.
Yeah, fantastic material. So our mission, let's really dig deep here. What were the key moments in Game 6? Player performances, strategy.
And how does it all set the table for this huge Game 7 decider back in Houston?
Exactly. That's the goal.
Okay, let's dive right in. Game 6, Rockets 115, Warriors 107, series tied 3-3. Where do we start? The flow felt back and forth.
It definitely did. Look at the first quarter. Rockets jumped out 25-21 lead.
Okay.
And Fred VanVleet, he was aggressive early, wasn't he? Driving, putting pressure on that Warriors D.
Seemed like it opened things up even if the shots didn't fall right away.
Sort of set a tone, yeah. And their defense felt tight from the jump, too, really pressuring the ball.
Right. VanVleet setting the pace. We've seen that before in this series. So Warriors down 4 after 1. How'd they hit back in the second?
Well, they definitely responded. Put up 27 points. Rockets scored 28, so still close.
So a higher scoring quarter.
Yeah, and this is where Steph Curry really started to, find his rhythm, hitting some tough ones.
Trying to carry him a bit.
Looked like it. But even with Curry heating up, the Rockets kept that lead. It was, 53-48 at the half?
Just a 5-point game.
Wow. Yeah, their ability to answer those little Warriors runs was pretty crucial in that first half.
Okay, so halftime, 5 points in it. You just knew the second half was going to be intense. What happened in the third?
Oh, the intensity definitely cranked up. It was a real shootout. Warriors dropped 36 points.
36. It's huge.
It is, but the Rockets hung right in there with 33 of their own.
How? Curry was still going off.
Curry kept scoring, yeah. But the Rockets showed some serious resilience. Alperen Şengün was really solid in the post.
Okay.
And Dillon Brooks, he chipped in with some timely buckets too. They just didn't let the Warriors fully grab the momentum back.
So even with that Warriors surge,
They held on, entered the fourth, clinging to just a 2-point lead, 86-84.
man, 2 points going into the fourth. You'd almost expect the Warriors, with their experience, to find a way there, but they didn't.
No, they didn't. And that fourth quarter, that's where Houston really, really buckled down.
Unchanged.
They outscored Golden State 29-23. And it felt like VanVleet just took over again.
Not just scoring, though.
No, I mean, yes, the scoring was there, but also the decision-making.
Yeah.
Smart reads in the pick and roll, finding guys, taking good shots.
Yep. Run stuff.
Exactly. And that defense, wow, it just got tighter. They forced the Warriors into some really tough looks, some uncharacteristic turnovers down the stretch.
When they absolutely needed stops.
They got them.
Let's focus on those key guys for a second. VanVleet, Curry, both end up with 29 points. What stood out beyond just the numbers?
Well, for VanVleet, like we saw in the materials you sent, it was the timing, right? Those threes he hit often felt like they came right after a Warriors push.
Momentum killers.
Total momentum killers, and just his control of the pace in those late moments. Really smart basketball.
And Curry. Still 29 points is huge.
It is, and he was brilliant, no question. But, watching it, it felt like maybe he had to work a little harder for those points. The Warriors' offense didn't seem quite as balanced, maybe.
Less support around him compared to VanVleet.
Perhaps. That's how it looks sometimes.
Okay, and what about Şengün? You mentioned him. 14 points doesn't leap off the page, but...
No, but his impact felt much bigger, especially inside. The sources pointed this out, too. He apparently did a great job just controlling the paint.
Denying easy looks.
Yeah, and limiting the second chances for the Warriors. That kind of interior presence, even without huge scoring, it really messes with what Golden State wants to do.
Interesting. Okay, let's glance at the team stats. Rockets. 115 points, 45% shooting. Pretty good, 40% from three.
Right.
And the rebounding, 46-42.
Right. That rebounding edge, 46-42. It doesn't sound massive, just 4 rebounds.
Yeah.
But over a whole game, especially a close one, like a few extra possessions for Houston, maybe fewer second looks for Golden State, that stuff matters.
And the steals, too. 12 for the Rockets, only 6 for the Warriors.
Yeah, that points to that defensive pressure we talked about, right? And maybe just a bit of sloppiness from the Warriors with the ball.
16 turnovers for Golden State overall. That feels high for them.
It really does. And connects back to the shooting numbers, 41% from the field, only 31% from three. That's not typical Warriors efficiency.
No.
And again, it suggests the Rockets' defensive plan, maybe specifically focusing on limiting those perimeter looks, really worked in Game 6.
Taking away the three ball.
And forcing those turnovers. It just disrupted their whole flow.
So it sounds like basically the Rockets' game plan for Game 6 clicked on, well, pretty much all cylinders.
It really seems that way. The defensive adjustments worked, they got scoring from multiple guys, and they controlled the glass. Hard to beat that combination.
Yeah, makes it tough when you can't just key in on one guy defensively.
Exactly. Keeps the defense guessing.
Okay, but this wasn't just one game in isolation, right? This is Game 6 of a real back-and-forth series.
Yeah.
What did we see in Games 1 through 5 that kind of led us here? Any big trends?
Oh, yeah, it's been a ride. Game 1, Rockets win. VanVleet goes off for 31. Defense looks strong.
Right.
Game 2, Warriors punch back. Curry with 36. Their defense looked much better. Ball movement, too.
Classic Warriors response.
Then Game 3, back to Houston. VanVleet solid again, Şengün. Brooks played well. They dominated the boards that game.
Okay.
Game 4, Warriors even it up. Curry and Draymond Green really stepped up, and their D kind of smothered the Rockets.
Yep, tied 2-2.
Yep. Then Game 5, Rockets just delivered a dominant performance. VanVleet clutch again, and that defense forced a ton of Warriors turnovers.
Which set up last night, Game 6, where the Warriors had to win on the road, but couldn't.
Right. Curry played well with 29, but the Rockets' defense, especially late, was just too good.
So looking at the whole series then, what are the big picture takeaways heading into Game 7?
Well, a few things really stand out, don't they? First, Fred VanVleet. His consistency, his clutch shots, his leadership, it's been huge for Houston.
I can't argue with that.
On the other side, Steph Curry's brilliance. He's just carried the Warriors' offense so often.
The engine, for sure.
Then there's the defense. Both teams have clearly made adjustments throughout the series. Rockets focusing on the three-point line, Warriors trying different things against VanVleet and the Houston perimeter.
That chess match.
Totally. And finally, those other areas, rebounding and turnovers. The Rockets seem to have had an edge on the boards more often, and the Warriors have definitely struggled with turnovers in the games they've lost.
Seems like those hustle stats are really telling a story in this series.
They often do in tight playoff series, yeah.
Okay, so Game 6 felt like, I don't know, a perfect storm for the Rockets. They executed, imposed their style.
Pretty much. They found a way to dictate the terms of engagement, especially down the stretch.
And now, Game 7 in Houston. You can't ask for much more drama than this.
Nope, this is it. Winner take all. And there are a few things I'm really watching for.
Like what?
Well, obviously VanVleet versus Curry. That matchup is just central, isn't it? Who wins that battle, especially late in the game?
Huge factor.
Yeah.
What else? Strategically?
Defense again. Adaptability. What tweaks do the coaches make now? Can the Rockets keep limiting those Warriors threes?
Or will Kerr find a new wrinkle?
Exactly. And on the flip side, can the Warriors finally figure out a way to consistently slow down VanVleet and that balanced Rockets attack?
It's fascinating.
And then role players. Under this kind of pressure, who steps up? For Houston, you need Şengün, Brooks to keep delivering. For the Warriors, Draymond Green is always key, but maybe they need a big game from an Andrew Wiggins or someone else to provide that extra offensive punch.
Someone's got to be the X factor.
Someone usually is in a Game 7.
Man, it really has been just an incredible series to watch. High-level stuff from both teams.
Yeah.
Win or lose Game 7, they've both shown a lot.
Absolutely. Ton of resilience, determination, the momentum swings, the star power, the coaching adjustments. It's been fantastic basketball. Game 7 should be epic.
Okay, so wrapping up our deep dive on Game 6, Rockets win behind that tough defense, balanced scoring, winning the boards. It forces Game 7.
Yep. And the whole series has kind of been defined by VanVleet's consistency and Curry's brilliance, plus that ongoing strategic battle. Game 6 just hammered those points home.
It really did. Now everything comes down to one game.
One game in Houston. The adjustments, the counters, it all leads to this.
All right, so here's something for you to chew on as we look ahead. We've talked about momentum, key players, strategy. What single adjustment, maybe offensive, maybe defensive, do you think will be the absolute key? The thing that swings Game 7.
That's a tough one.
Think about everything we've seen so far. What's the one tweak that can make all the difference? It's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out.